Hi and welcome to part 2,
Yes,
wow, of the journey of loss and love. I'm David St.Martin.
I'm Michelle St. Martin.
So if you haven't seen our intro, it's a 4-minute clip and basically talks about the reason why Michelle and I are documenting our journey of loss through miscarriaging into the love through adoption. So,
Couldn't have said it better myself, David.
well, you did tell me what to say. So this section here is about the loss of miscarriages, unsuccessful IVF, and everything in between. So
Yes. I think I'll start off actually because my body went through all of that, although you was there with me. I think I just wanted to document this because I remember when we first got together all those years ago, we weren't together that long. We was together maybe about
8-10 months.
8-10 months, and I found out I was pregnant, and it was such a shock. But after absorbing that, it was a really nice shock, and we were really excited to think that we were going to have a baby because we was already planning on getting married. So it all seemed to fall in nicely. And then we had a miscarriage after about 8 weeks, and it was really tough, as it is for any woman who's had a miscarriage. But I think the only thing that I took comfort from was knowing that a lot of women will have a miscarriage somewhere along their way of pregnancy. So we both actually, although it was really hard and you were so supportive with me, I was like, well, we'll try again when the time's right. So it'll be fine. We'll get married, and then we can try a family again. And so we did, didn't we? We tried again, and we had another 4 miscarriages. So I had 5 miscarriages, and then we had 3 ectopic pregnancies, which was horrific, to be quite honest. And I think even when I went through the miscarriages, when you lose one and then you lose a second and then you lose a third, I was questioning everything, thinking, oh my God, what have I done? Why is it not working? The tears, the heartache. And then I got really angry because everyone around me seemed to be having babies and was falling pregnant, and I wasn't holding on to the pregnancy long enough. And It was heart-wrenching, wasn't it, David? I don't know how you felt through all of that.
The hardest thing for me is, and I know how supportive I was.
Very.
And I know that deep down, I should have been a lot more honest. And what I mean by that is I should have actually told you, as much as you went through this, your body went through this, your emotions, like everything in your being was going through this. I was just on the sidelines looking into it. I should have been so much more open with how I felt. Not that it was going to be, well, I'm going to take away your pain, I'm going to take away what you're feeling, I'm going to talk about me now.
But you still went through it.
I did, and that's one thing that anyone out there that's has this from their partner suffering from this, from someone that's lived it and someone that's regretted not actually saying to my partner, I'm angry, I'm livid, I'm so disappointed, not because you couldn't carry the child, but the why. And look, we never know why, it's just nature's way of saying, look, unfortunately, this ain't going to happen for you. Not that it's the best thing, because I don't agree with that. If you miscarry, it's not because, it weren't meant to be. That's BS. It really is.
It really
but
is.
I really wish that I opened up to you each and every time it happened and said to you, look, I'm sorry, but also, we have to stick together. And we did, but it was very much you leaning on me, and I never leaned on you. And I do think, as much as you was going through that, it would have enabled you to think, well, look, David is suffering. We have come together to realise that, this is us as a couple that are suffering this horrific situation, not just you.
That's the thing, and I really appreciate you saying that, Dave. And it's really hard because although I was going through all of that, I was so angry with so much, and I felt like it was just me because my body was going through it my heart was going through the ache that one minute I'm pregnant and the next thing I'm not. But I didn't really realise how much it was hurting David and how much the pain was affecting him. Although his body weren't going through it, he was in it with me 100%.
And the reason, and
Yeah.
honestly, the biggest thing is, I wanted a family.
I know.
This wasn't, it was an accident. Okay, well, Michelle wants a family and I don't. We wanted
Together
a family.
we wanted to, we did desperately want a baby. So anyone who's watching, actually, that's one bit of advice I would give you, is that it isn't just the woman that's going through all that. Although at the time, and trust me, I really know, you think it's just you and it's all your emotion, it's your world, it's your bubble, but your partner is going through exactly the same pain. The only difference is they're not going through that physical hurt of surgery, of having a miscarriage, having to go in and out of the hospital all the time. But David was right there with me every step of the way, so he was there with me, and I didn't actually see it at the time. And if I could go back and change that, that would be one thing I would change. And I'm so glad that we've got this opportunity to talk to you, because it's the first time I'm hearing that from my husband, and it's quite touching. And if I could turn it all back, I would do it so differently.
Yeah.
Although I wouldn't want to go through it all again, but if I could see that coming, so that's why I want to be able to document this, just to be able to give you those points, things that we may have done differently or we would change, that you reflect on and you can see the difference.
Yeah, and we know with any relationship, communication is key, but sometimes it's knowing the right words to say, the right actions to do, and sometimes an arm around a shoulder isn't enough.
No,
it isn't. But the gratitude I have, because look, we endured a lot. I lost virtually, to a point, lost Michelle on the last ectopic pregnancy, which it was out the blue, rushed in for surgery. And being told that I can't see my wife because we're having to rush her into surgery, it broke me, completely broke me. And at that point, you get to a stage where you think, well, why are we doing this? Why are we as a couple going to put Michelle's body through this, knowing that there's underlying reasons why we just can't hold on to a child? And we had various tests done, and we've had 2 sessions of IVF, a frozen embryo transfer, so we know that we've pretty much tried all that we could. But then knowing that I almost lost my wife because of her being pregnant, that and I know it was for you as well, but that completely took it for me. Like, no, we can't do this anymore. Like, when is enough? And there'll be lots of people that will go, well, look, you only had 2 sessions of IVF, you could have done 3 or 4 or 5, or you could have kept trying. But it weren't. Yeah,
it wasn't. And I also think it's so different for every single woman. I mean, no one's ever going to go through the same thing twice. And for me, every single pregnancy was so devastating. And it wasn't just the fact of losing the baby, it was the aftermath of it all, and it was the surgery that I had to have. I think I've had about 15 operations. So it wasn't just about the pregnancy. My body was absolutely broken by it all, to the point of nearly dying. And I think that's what the hardest thing is. And that's when you get to the point, when I had that ectopic pregnancy that nearly killed me, it just ripped my whole world apart. Yeah. My heart was broken. Everything sort of sunk in, and I realised that it was never going to happen for me. And that's when. And
at that point,
that's when I was broken, really.
Yeah. And we both
realisation kicked in.
Yeah, realisation kicks in, and it's really hard, isn't it? Because when you all you really want is to have a family, you feel that's the only option for you. The only option for you is to come together, to conceive naturally, to have a child. And then we sat down one night, and it was a summer's night, and we just opened up a bottle of Sauvignon, only one, and we sat down and we openly said, look, what do we now want? We could, the world's our oyster. And after, after really talking about all the different options of selling our house and travelling and just living a life of freedom as a couple, we then realised that's not what we wanted. What we wanted is to be a family. But also we conceived the idea that we didn't want to go down the route of having to have a family through our own resources, trying again. And then we both virtually simultaneously looked at each other and said, well, why don't we adopt? We'd never spoke about it before. All the miscarriages we had, all the unsuccessful IVF that we had, every operation that we had to basically give us an opportunity to have a child, we never once discussed the option of having a family via adoption, and as fostering as an option as well. So we sat down and then we went through talking about,
It was a long discussion, wasn't it?
It went on for hours.
It wasn't overnight. It was a long process, actually.
Yeah, exactly that. So, and we're going to talk about the process of the journey of adoption in our next episode. But this here is, despite the adversity, despite the loss, the tears, the pain of operations, the pain emotionally, knowing that we could say, but we got through it. But we got through it through. Sometimes it felt like sheer luck, that we just swung it by just to get through it. But on reflection, when we look back, we were resilient. We had the strength to talk.
We did argue. I mean, there was arguments, as you can imagine. I'm sure loads of couples that have gone through it, there's so much anger and hatred, and I was so hurt and upset, and I blamed David, I blamed everyone around me, I blamed myself more than anything. I hated myself for so long, and I would just wake up and just put this face of makeup on and just try and hide all that pain under something that I wasn't. And it was only actually until 8 years ago, when we'll talk about our adoption process, as David said in our next episode, it was only until then that I could finally wipe that makeup off and start living me and start letting that pain sink down and compress, because finally I knew what having a family was actually all about. And as I said in my previous one, children don't have to come from you to go through you. I can't stress that enough, how important them words are, and I'll continue to say that because we'll continue to talk about that through our coming episodes. But it's been a tough journey. It's been a really tough journey, but we're strong and we got through it, and we come out the other end, didn't we, Dave?
We did, but we implore you to talk to each other.
So important.
If you're going through this now, talk to each other, open up. But let people in. But have the rule, and listen. And it's one thing I've learned with 25 years with Michelle. Sometimes you start a discussion, a conversation, a topic, and it may not be exactly the words at that right time you want to say. But the second you start talking about it, and it doesn't resonate with the person you're talking to, well, why would you say that? Why are you talking about that? And you think, well, no, actually, I didn't mean that. What I meant to say is this. Already that person has your initial comment at the start. So one thing we done years ago is to say, look, we're about to talk about something. This is kind of how I want to talk about it, but if it doesn't quite sound right straight away, don't jump on me. We just need to have an open dialogue. So don't worry about, just talk.
It's not about saying the right thing or the bad thing. It's about communication.
Talking. Absolutely.
And actually just embracing each other and just going through it together, because it's not just one person, it's both of you. And I appreciate some women may be on their own and go through a miscarriage. So if that's the case, pull on people around you, pull on family, pull on your friends, embrace their love, embrace their cuddle and their kindness. Please feel free to message us privately if you got any questions. I know that I don't know everyone watching, and I know there's people in my connections that I do, but for those of you that I don't know, I really want you to know from the bottom of my heart that I'm genuinely here for you if you're going through this torrid time of miscarriages, ectopic, IVF, whatever it may be. And if there's something that I can say to help alleviate that, then with all my heart I'd happily connect with you.
Perfect. So this finishes it off nicely for us to both wish you a very happy, weekend. Hopefully sunny weekend, and we'll see you next week. Really appreciate you listening, guys. Take care. Bye.